Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up, people? This is Blood Talk No Love. Oh, welcome to another edition, man. Tonight we're going to be discussing the Diddy trial's closing and possible sentence outcome or possible sentence outcome if there's anything, as well as we'll be doing a little bit of a discussion on, I guess, probably witness testimony, issues with the jury, shit like that, man. Because it was a circus to say the least. So, without further ado, I am your host P. Dot on the spot.
Child
Got
17.
sex in the building.
All right, and that's what's up. And we all once again gonna talk Nolan, man. Check
What up?
the room. How y'all week been, man? What's been happening? Oh, by the way, man,
Hot nigga.
apologize for not being here. But
Get the violins, Jap.
so how y'all week?
Who week?
Good, bro. Good, brother. Can't
Good.
complain.
Definitely
Praising the Lord.
Bismillah.
The Lord is good all the time and all the time.
All the
God is good.
tits out.
All right, just had to get that out. What y'all got for any other news, man? Let's get ready to get into it because I don't want to hold the people up too long tonight with my long-winded ass. So let's get right
Chap, you want to go
into
first, or you
Yeah,
want me to take the reign? Handle your business, yeah.
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So,
I keep it spoken.
There's a weakness in him. Ooh.
Hold up. Let's be that heavy ready for a whole nother episode.
If I'm walking down the street and I see a black man with a white woman, there's a weakness in him. Ooh. Something in him.
What? Okay.
When I see a black woman with a white man, despite all the historical context that we know
Yeah.
that sits behind that, I think, oh, she must have got she's tired. Like she must have got so fed up that she's getting to rest now.
You can't make this shit up, people.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
If I'm
Y'all heard her, bro. Y'all heard her. I gotta play it again.
I heard
so
P. What you heard him?
because you see a black man with a white woman, you see a weakness in him, but you see a black woman with a white man, and you see that she's fed up and she's getting some rest now. That's what I heard, right? That is what I heard.
Yep.
Because deep down inside, that pendulum swings evenly either way it goes. You can't say you see a weakness in one, but then see somebody that was fed up and is finally getting rest on the other. The pendulum swings evenly in each direction because what if that weakness that you see in him when he's with a white woman is the rest that he's finally starting to get, right? And who definitely said that shit is all peaches and cream because you with a white woman? Remember white tears. Remember we talked a little bit about that. The Karenism. We don't think that shit went away just because you
No,
with the white woman.
don't get off the topic. Stick on the topic. That ain't the topic. The topic is
No.
the topic is that's not the topic. That's not the topic. The topic is
Mhm.
these niggas is having good relationships with the women. She didn't say they was having bad ones. These niggas is having good. We not talking about the bad.
Right.
We talking about the good. The good is what she was talking about. Why is
She
the
still see
nigga?
a weakness, yeah.
Why?
Why she see a
So
weakness in a man that don't want to be with your black ass no more because you getting on his nerves?
with everything that white boy say, do y'all do without a complaint,
That's my
I
first
heard.
thought was,
right?
do you have a does she have a white boyfriend or perhaps
Well, and most likely she does.
an old lady?
I don't know, but she
A white old
definitely
lady.
feels
Mhm.
she definitely feels like
It's a weakness in a man,
it's a
though. That was
weakness
weird
in a
to say it like
man
that.
for him to won't mess with a white
Choose
girl because I guess
But that's it's weird. That's weird,
being,
bro.
I got
It is.
another video to rebuttal it. I swear it go right with it just so we could continue the thought because I think her thought leads to this other lady thought. I be trying to string my and other losers together so we could get them all out the way. I like Facebook videos.
Listening to man, I'm so sorry.
If you was in a long-term relationship with a man, would you want him to take full control over the health and wellness in that relationship?
No.
No?
Why is he telling me what to do?
What if he knows a lot more about fitness and health?
He doesn't.
No?
I'm not listening to
It's
man.
hypothetical.
No.
She said he don't. It's hypothetical, man.
Let's just say if you was in a relationship with me and I wanted to get you in better fitness, would you listen to me?
How much money does your company make a year? Like, I think that's the question.
Oh
Like,
wow.
I've been listening to you.
That's
Like,
okay.
Look how quick
weight-
it went.
the weight- The weight is not your concern.
Look how quick this shit went.
Crazy.
Look how quick this shit went to. Well, how much money does your company make? Bitch,
Nigga,
he
it
didn't
don't
say
matter how
shit
much money he
about
make.
money.
Does he
It don't.
have fitness knowledge?
course.
That dude is
Right.
That's all.
You get in shape.
in
Oh.
better shape than you is. What is you talking about, lady?
Oh, he
First of
asked
all,
her,
everybody out there
would
in
you
better
listen to
shape
me?
than
That's
she
all he
is.
asked her. Would you listen to me? She went straight
Would
to
you
the
let
point.
me-
That's crazy
What
work.
shut that shit
I
down?
know, and it was hypothetical. How you shut down a hypothetical? You're supposed to put yourself in the situation that they done gave you. Like you learned that in school, bruh. But you learned that in grammar
couldn't.
school. You know how to pick
couldn't
multiple
because
choice.
She couldn't fathom the fact
She
of
didn't want
listening
to.
to a man.
Yeah,
And
she
she
didn't
ain't,
want
Right.
she ain't ask,
That-
she didn't ask how much money he made. She asked how much money the company he worked for made.
Yeah. Didn't even give him
That goes
to be
to
in the
show
company.
you
Right.
the level of
he don't even own a business, you know.
that's just a specific level of ignorance that I see. That, but the whole hypothetical thing, yeah, she couldn't grasp that. But just the fact that she went straight to no, I don't want no man telling me what to do. What makes him think he can tell me what to do? Well, then turn around and contradict all of that shit by talking about, well, how much money does your company make? What the fuck does that have to do with the fact that the man is saying, hypothetically, if you were with a man and he said, hey, I want to get us in better shape, but he knows more about fitness than you do, would you listen to him? That man said straight up, no. Why? Why is it no? Did you not even think about the fact that your fat ass standing up here overweight as it is? And if you join a gym, you're gonna need a personal trainer to guide you through these things, and then 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be a fucking man. Unless you choose otherwise. Right? So at that point, you still gotta do what the nigga say do, or you ain't gonna get no fucking one. Right? Hypothetically.
Hey, bro, we
These
saw the
fucking-
stupidness for ourselves, bro. I was
These-
saying, like, don't.
Fucking shenanigans gotta stop, bro.
Just the thought process of some women is crazy work for you to hear that a man is weak for choosing another race. Like people do that all the time. Like it's 2025.
But
White
we,
people and black
I
people not
guess
the
so.
only people switching and being with each other. Like black dudes like Chinese girls and shit too. Like I see niggas with Chinese girls. Like, there's other races out there that people fuck with. It's not just. I hate that you put this narrative, like you know what I'm saying. It's very contrived toward a man for whatever the reason is. She could be clout chasing off the I am every woman, Black Power, lives matter shit. You know what I'm saying it be a lot of that without holding no responsibility. It just sound contrived, dog. And it's fucked up that she gotta say that so proud, you know what I'm saying, without even giving it a second thought of just third, even just a third chance of looking at it. Like even if you into racism and shit, why would you say that out there?
It's
like
not
that?
all women that feel like that, but what
exactly.
I'm saying, it's a percentage of them that feel like that. Like
that follow her ass too, saying
but
that shit and
I feel thank you. That's what I just was about to say that too, Silent. I just was about to say that too, because we gotta think that just this one woman ideology, the same way you could take a man's ideology. Look, what's the guy you always talk about? The one that wind up getting millions of people, Jim Jones and all them motherfuckers wind up getting people to do their bidding off of an ideology, not something that is actually fucking real, right? Her ideology of a man being weak for choosing to date somebody outside their race, that's her ideology, and it is a flawed ideology, because at the same time, if it were on her to go choose somebody and a man says, I see a black woman as being weak for dating outside her race, it'll be flocks of women jumping on that nigga back talking about, oh well, you can't tell her what to do. You can't, but that same white boy gonna tell her what to do. The same way, where's the common sense at? We should not be just limited to one race that we choose to date or become involved with, or so on and so forth. And we should also not be looked at as being weak for choosing not to deal with a race of women or a particular set of women, or whomever the case may be, a woman period, that's gonna give you fucking problems, right? So if I see
the only reason
that I'm dealing with this,
the man weak because because he chose a different race, is because she knows she make it difficult, or she know how difficult it is to be with your own race. See what I'm saying? Because she sympathized with the woman, but she hate the man for
criticize the man, right? But so it all boils down to her particular ideology, which women hearing her say stuff like that, who look at men as ain't shit men anyway, they gonna jump in line. Oh yeah, girl, I totally agree. But not really realize that a lot of them women, the same women that jump in line with that shit, ain't shit women. You ain't shit. You talk all this shit about what a man's supposed to be for you and what he's supposed to do, but what are you supposed to be doing for him?
Causing problems and demanding shit. That's it is.
Now see this one right here. This one, I swear I didn't watch the whole video. The title or the y'all see what that shit say. It just looked interesting. I just was like, let's watch this together, because I don't know what happened. I don't know, but we about to find out. Let's see what she talking about.
Religion next to the Satanic Temple. This documentary goes into the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which is a serious religion and is the fastest growing religion in the world. Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is recognized in many countries around the world, and as you can see behind me, they are extremely cool and wear spaghetti strainers on their heads. If you love documentaries, make sure to hit follow because I post daily and you'll always have something to watch. The Spaghetti Monster is an ancient deity who is responsible for the creation of the world. Members partake in noodle mass where they eat a cooked noodle from the priest and they drink beer instead of wine. There are 30 million members worldwide and they are called Pastafarians. Children are baptized in noodle water, and when you die, you go to heaven where there's a beer volcano and a stripper factory. And aside from all of that, they are very serious and have good morals. They want to take care of the planet, take care of people, put their money towards things that are good. We need more religions like this. Have a good day, and may his noodly appendage touch you. This is the greatest religion next to the Satanic Temple. This documentary goes into the Church of the Flying Spaghetti.
May his noodly appendage touch you. What the fuck?
Let the noodly appendage touch thee. Ain't that freaky? Pastafarians.
Pastafarian.
Pastafari.
It look like important people up there that actually look like they run countries and shit that's a part of this crazy shit. This is what I be telling y'all, boy. That cold shit is real, nigga. It don't take that much. It don't take that much.
30 million people. 30 million people follow the practice of
religion.
Eating eating a noodle from the priest and drinking beer instead of wine. Well, fuck. I guess we all could go classify ourselves as Pastafarians then, because who doesn't love a good bowl of
created
spaghetti?
the world. The noodle guy created the world.
You heard him. You heard it here.
Bro, this shit is fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy.
You heard it here.
I did hear about this, but I didn't know all the the details about it because I kind of passed it up. But yeah,
I'd like to know
this is a thing.
Why?
This is a thing, Pete.
So I want to know what besides hearing what she said. She couldn't give us one example of type of charitable donations that they've made in any form or fashion.
Right,
they put their money to good things. Like what? Because if they did, we didn't hear about it, right? Because there's a religion of 30 million.
But I get what you're saying. She could have mentioned some shit.
But 30 million people around the world follow this shit and looking at what I saw. The nigga wearing a pasta strainer in the fucking courtroom. But we not allowed to wear our beanies or pheasants or turbans or whatever the fuck. Like, what's that saying? For the Muslim brothers that want to keep their head covered while they're in court. They telling these brothers, no, you can't come in court with that hat on your head. But you allow these Jewish dudes to wear the what the thing is?
Oh, the kufis,
the
yarmulkes and the yarmulkes.
Yeah, you let them wear their shit in court without impunity, but we can't do like the religion says for us. And I'm looking at a Jewish dude standing in court with a motherfucking pasta strain on his motherfucking head.
Damn.
You're not supposed to be able to bring metal in the fucking court. How he get in there with that shit?
So that's his religion.
You see what I'm saying? Okay.
It's America.
Get the plastic.
Mm-hmm.
This is America. You could do as you please. You just gotta want to do it. It's America.
Yeah, the freedom of religion. 30 million followers, nigga.
That's all I had, fella.
I'm glad you did bring that up. So I'm gonna do this one then, y'all. Since we on this type of time with folks in religions and new religions and shit, how about somebody remixing one in Russia? Check this shit out.
And finally, a Russian cult leader who claimed to be the reincarnation of Jesus Christ has been sentenced to 12 years in prison. Sergei Tarap, known to his followers as Vizarion, was found guilty of harming the mental and physical health of his followers and exploiting them financially. The verdict marks the end of a decades-long investigation into one of Russia's most controversial religious movements. Our final story takes you inside.
The Jesus of Siberia has been jailed. A self-proclaimed messiah who founded a religious cult in the remote Russian wilderness has been sentenced to 12 years in a maximum security prison for systematically exploiting and harming his followers over nearly 3 decades. 64-year-old Sergei Torop, once a traffic officer, reinvented himself in the early 1990s as a Vissarion, claiming to be the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. In the chaos of post-Soviet Russia, as old ideologies collapsed and poverty surged, Torop's apocalyptic sermons found fertile ground. He founded the Church of the Last Testament in 1991, the same year the Soviet Union fell, and began building a following in Krasnoyarsk region of Siberia. With flowing robes, a long beard, and shoulder-length hair, Vissarion projected the image of a spiritual guide. He established a secluded commune called the Abode of Dawn, also referred to as Sun City, where some 300 of his most loyal devotees lived in a near-total isolation following strict rules. Meat, alcohol, smoking, swearing, and money were forbidden. Followers intoned prayers in his honor, while females were reportedly educated as future brides for worthy men. This was shown in a documentary in 2017. But beneath the spiritual facade, Russian authorities say Torop ran a coercive operation, one that inflicted psychological trauma, financial ruin, and physical harm on his flock. On July 30, a court in the Siberian city of Novosibirsk convicted Torop and 2 of his top aides of causing grievous bodily harm, violating civil rights, and psychological manipulation of their followers. Torop and 1 of his aides were each sentenced to 12 years, while the other aide received 11 years in a high-security penal colony. The court also ordered the trio to pay over $500,000 in compensation to their victims for what prosecutors described as moral damage. According to investigators, the group inflicted moral harm on 16 people, caused serious health problems in 6, and left 1 individual with moderate injuries. The men were arrested in a dramatic helicopter raid on the commune in 2020. Throughout the investigation and trial, all 3 men denied any wrongdoing. Prosecutors described the sect as a religious organization built on coercion and exploitation, operating under a doctrine that gave Torop unchecked authority. From 1991 to 2020, the cult allegedly extracted money
Jesus
and
no more.
labor through spiritual manipulation, isolating followers from the outside world and encouraging total devotion to their leader. Despite widespread criticism and increasingly bizarre claims of divinity, Vissarion's followers remained fiercely loyal until the state intervened. As the court handed down its sentence, it marked the end of one of Russia's most infamous modern cults, a messianic movement that began with promises of spiritual salvation and ended with manipulation,
Selling pictures
fraud,
and all kind of shit.
lasting harm.
Yeah, bro. 12 years.
Don't
Been
get
doing
me
it since the
wrong.
90s. Don't
Damn.
get you wrong. What you say?
What you about to say, Chop? You go ahead.
I just was saying, damn, like they've been doing that shit a long time. Like they've been at it for a minute. The comments say, "Hello, Gaming Pro. What's up, Diddy 504?
Gamer Pro. What's good? What's good? DD 504. What's Sam?
What's good, y'all? So here's my thoughts on this. Like y'all say, you've been doing this shit since the 90s. Now, I didn't hear one mention of child pedophilia for sexual relations or anything like that. I didn't hear about him having these people be convinced to go out and do harm or anything like that, right? Nah, like you say, he remixed it. He called himself the reincarnation of Christ.
Right.
I could see if you
Nigga, get to the what you trying to say, Pete. Just say it. What you saying?
no, I'm saying I could see if you were saying that, you felt that the Most High God
They shouldn't have did
sent
him nothing.
you.
He should have just kept his little coat out there. Is what you're saying? He
No,
should have
no,
got no
no, no, no.
charges.
I'm saying,
Is that what you're trying to say?
no, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
not
I'm
talking
trying to
about
figure
none of
out
that.
because
I'm saying
you going
I'm
around
trying to
corners, man.
figure out how bruh, go along. Shit.
You tongue tied,
I'm
nigga.
trying to see how the fuck this man was able to do this shit for 12 years, and all of a sudden now, he caused me great bodily harm and this and this and this and this. Okay,
It's
what
been
the fuck did
12
you
years.
do
It's
in
not all
12?
of a sudden. It's 12 years. They've been knowing about the whole situation, Pete. He finally got
So
caught. That what you saying? Like, why did he get
that,
caught now?
like, if they been knew about it, how the fuck they didn't know about what was going on with the shit back then? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that
You
essentially
gotta
that's
get
what I'm
because
saying.
you have to get charges on people. That's how it works. See? You can't just arrest people because you assume shit is happening. You need evidence. You need stuff to go with it. Claims, people coming forward, all that. See? That's part of the investigation. That's why they got him on the charges that they do have him on versus the ones you saying that wasn't on his record. Shit that other ones known for, something that's even worse than what you probably thought you heard from them. But it was definitely abuse going on. He was definitely scamming them people, and he was definitely using forced labor to run his coat. So
Okay.
you have to gain an investigation to it being that long. I mean, we done talked about other cult leaders that went longer than that, brother. Nigga buried 100 and something people out there in Africa. You remember that shit? He had a little coke gun. How you bury that many motherfuckers? So, it's just an investigation. That's all. It don't seem out of place to me. That's why I'm trying to figure out why it seems so out of place for you when shit like that does take a minute. Nobody gets charged like a nigga getting shot on the street or something. You know what I'm saying? Like with a coat, and then it's under a religion and all that. So there's legal ways that saves whatever he's doing out there, because like we just was talking about, you have the freedom of religion, P. So you got to actually get heavy charges or something to actually go in there. You remember how the people say they came in there to get him? It was a helicopter raid. They didn't bust down the door. They didn't blow no bomb. They had to come through the helicopter. They came through the air and got their ass. With the warrant and everything. So it was already. He was done, bro. He was overdue.
The angel descended down from heaven.
There it is, player. Come to get your ass. About to take you on home. Here go my second one, y'all. Y'all check this shit out. Now you let me see what you think about this one then. Since you won't be no tonight. He won't be no P-Dot tonight. Here we go.
A former state forensic scientist is now facing dozens of criminal charges after she was accused of manipulating data in more than 1,000 cases. Yvonne Missy Woods is in Jefferson County Jail tonight facing 102 felonies.
In September 2023, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation found irregularities in her work impacting hundreds of criminal cases that date back decades.
Investigative reporter Natalie Chuck has been combing through the court documents that reveal some very serious allegations. Natalie.
Yeah, Shannon and Jessica, and allegations that, if they are true, could have impacted investigations into murder, sex assault, robbery, and more, spanning a total of 15 years. The arrest affidavit paints a thorough picture of exactly how investigators believe Woods impacted cases. And for the first time, we are getting a glimpse into what exactly Woods told investigators as they questioned her about her handling of DNA data.
Check
A
this shit
forensic
out.
scientist trusted with testifying in cases against Colorado's accused criminals for decades, now facing criminal charges herself. Yvonne Missy Woods, previously employed by the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, is facing 102 felony charges. She is accused of committing a cybercrime, perjury, 48 counts of attempting to
Listen
influence
carefully.
a public servant, and 52 counts of forgery. This arrest affidavit reveals investigators believe Woods' input data values showing either no or little DNA was present in samples, manipulated data in sexual assault cases to make it seem no male DNA evidence was found when some was, and concealed any testing contamination.
The great irony of this case is that the DNA that brought him into this courtroom should have been enough, but the person that processed it was so flawed and so broken, and her name is Missy Woods, that she presented such a risk that we already had to bake in extra mercy for him.
Just last week, District Attorney George Brockler bringing Woods' name back into the spotlight after a man was convicted of a much lighter charge because Woods allegedly handled DNA at the crime scene. According to
That
these
evil
court
bitch.
documents, investigators interviewed other forensic scientists. One flagged Woods' work over concerns back in 2018. When confronted by investigators saying data being deleted was likely not accidental, Woods responded, quote, "You're probably right." This case was investigated by the South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation, but now it is being handled by the District Attorney's Office out in Jefferson County, which is also one of the many counties whose cases were likely impacted by Woods. In a statement, the DA said in part, "My office remains committed to reviewing all affected cases within our jurisdiction on behalf of the defendants and victims involved." Woods turned herself into jail there this afternoon and is being held on a $50,000 cash-only bond. Her attorney had no comment, but Woods will be in court tomorrow morning. For Denver 7 Investigates, I'm not.
And guess what? Just to put a little cream and motherfucking cherry on top of that bullshit this bitch done did, she was also over the Kobe Bryant rape case with that white girl. So she been locking niggas up and falsifying nigga shit for a long time, fellas. I know y'all saw that man on trial, who he looked at like. All right, fellas, pay attention. 101 felonies, fellas. 52 forgeries, fellas. Who she work for? I don't know. Anybody? But yeah, I just wanted to show y'all them too. They're my other news. If y'all want to say anything on that situation.
So she basically was doing like the other lady we had talked about that was doing that shit. I think it was like some Korean looking lady, and I think we did that a bill on that like maybe 2 years ago, and they called her ass doing the same fucking shit. But this bitch here, like, dog. All right, so let me get to the point right quick. I believe, and this is my deep and honest belief, that their computer system should be wired where any information that is input into that computer or any information like from testing or so on and so forth should be viewed by a second set or third set or however many sets of independent people. That way there, if her findings say, oh, there was no DNA, then the system should automatically kick that information over to, other independent investigators to make sure that she's processing the information correctly, right? Cameras should be installed at every angle where you could clearly see overhead or from all four corners around the building what's being done. No blind spot. That way you would eliminate people being able to falsify evidence and documentation like that. 54 counts of forgery? Like, whose name was she signing on this shit if she was the lead person? You see what I'm saying? If she the lead person that do all the work, whose name would she forge? So it had to be somebody above her that she had to report to. So how is it that all this shit was going on all this time? And in 2018, an independent investigator flagged her work, and y'all still let her keep doing the shit. Like there's nobody else y'all could have went to get the work done. Like it's sketchy. It's real sketchy. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Like, first, you need to. Where the fuck is her supervisor at? Like, it had to be something that they both had going on, like collectively, because somebody check her work. So who the fuck check her work on some shit? Like, who her supervisor is? Cause that don't make no sense. If she just in charge of it and nobody checks her work, that's a flawed system. That's a flaw in the system too. Because if it just go based off her word, it shouldn't be like that.
There's ain't nobody that checking it, and that's how she was able to do what she was doing and writing what she was writing. And not only that, she was falsifying the DNA tests and shit too, y'all, for rape cases and all kind of shit. She was telling, she was writing. That's the forgery and shit came in, because she was also lying on DNA tests and shit too. I'm telling y'all, she did the Kobe shit too. Remember she said they had about 3-4 different nuts in the drawers. Remember, y'all remember that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just think about it. That's what the bitch was. She was on that type of time. So they saying they don't know which cases this bitch done tampered with versus the ones that she actually did work on. And we gotta relook at all this shit now. For over 15 fucking years of so-said or so-called investigations, fellas, that have not been actually going on the right way that she was supposed to be doing it. So whatever evidence she brought in as an expert, that's what they were going by.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how that happened. Basically, that's how she was, because she's the expert. She's the one who's doing the work.
So-called expert.
And they come to her. You know what she was? I think she was doing it on purpose. I think she knew how to do it right. I think she just was doing it wrong on purpose, my nigga. Like,
right.
Bitch is just an evil bitch. That's what I'm telling you too. Like, I think
probably
this shit was on purpose. Or probably was with an organization or something. That's what that'll be my only two with her just doing this shit for as long as she been doing it. Like, you not crazy, bitch. You own some shit. So yeah, fellas, that's all I had to. You could start the seg, Claire. Or if you got some other news, you run it. That's all I had.
Yeah, I just got one little video, bro, and I just want people to pay attention that this is the type of shit we deal with when we think of law enforcement, right? Peep out what this motherfucker do. Oh, my bad.
You did this yourself. You didn't have to tase me. You didn't
I'm
have
gonna
to
let
fight
it
us.
cook again.
I'm not trying to fight you. The damn taser hit me, you motherfucker.
Keep it out again, y'all.
You wild gunfire.
I'm down, promise. I swear to God, I'm done. I swear to God, I'm done. Are you done this time? Yes, sir. Are you done? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm done. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. You did this yourself. You didn't have to tase me. You didn't have to fight us. I'm not trying to fight y'all. The damn taser hit me, you motherfucker.
I just want to know how the fuck your partner who's in control of the taser gun still shoot you.
Nigga say that bitch hit me, motherfucker.
But then the other one in the background, this nigga tased his fucking self. Like, why would you put your hand over that fucking thing? This nigga fucking picture. Shot his fucking self right quick, and then go blame the little black dude. He was trying to dry tase the little man and was wondering why the shit wasn't working. You hear me? Let me check this right quick. Chop, pop, and then shot his ass in the fucking head. Goofy. Yeah, that's all I had, man. So, just you know, put that up there right quick. All right, y'all. Of course. And then look, knowing how nigga be feeling about cops and shit like that, of course nigga gonna run. Fuck, these bitches like killing people. So we'll go ahead. This is the main portion of the show, y'all. I wanna wait, matter of fact. Alright. The main portion of the show. We talking about the Diddy trials, man, in the closing. Just for the people that's just coming in the building, we're talking about the close of the Diddy trial. What evidence that they talk about, witnesses, testimony, jury issues, and stuff like that. So, before we get started with that, I'm gonna run a fair you, y'all. Give me 1 second. All right. So, go ahead. First video up there, man. And I want everybody to realize that we didn't hear nothing from the prosecution as far as anything of the video that like does speak of what the prosecution had to say about the whole scenario with Diddy and his trial. We only hear from like his lawyers and other lawyers about this shit. So check it out.
Feel good up there?
He's thankful. He's
all right.
relieved, and he thanks the jurors. I think the jurors did what jurors do, which is they saw through an overcharged, overzealous, kind of a crazy prosecution, and they did the right thing. And that's why, when people talk about tyranny and fascism and everything else, as long as you've got a jury system that works, that's what separates us from the rest of the world. And Sean is thankful. As a helicopter parent, I couldn't be prouder, and I'll let them talk. I don't want to steal their thunder. That doesn't really, the bail, I think, is besides the point. He was acquitted of the trafficking. He was acquitted of the RICO. Those were always, I thought, as an observer, a ridiculous use of taxpayer resources. This case was never what it was made out to be. This case was ridiculous in so many different ways, and I'm just thankful that the jury saw through it.
But he's still facing prison time.
Sean is, the interesting thing about
some time.
Prison is it's a timeout, and he's had a lot of time to reflect, and he's in a good place mentally, and I'm proud of him. And by the way, for those of you who may miss it, the defense didn't put on a single witness. The defense tried their case within the prosecution case. And at the end of the day, it's a colossal failure by the prosecution.
Ain't got a point.
All right, what y'all think?
I agree. Got a point.
Got a point. This
All
is
right,
what they did. They were so busy worrying about cashing in the Earl parties. It wasn't giving no evidence on the racketeering or the sex trafficking. It got weird, and for them to just shut down the way they did, it looked like they didn't have nothing to begin with. Like it was
right. They just
crazy.
Trying to see what's going
Like,
to stick to the wall.
yeah, we remember them going to the man mansions and shit and saying they got tapes from this and that. Like it was, you know,
Where's that? Where's
it
that?
was weird the way they did that. And for them
Very.
to, like he said, for them to use taxpayers' money for that fucking sideshow, it's fucking ridiculous, bro. It makes our judicial system, everything we talk about on Blunt Talk, fucking NOLA, bro. This shit, these motherfuckers really don't be doing their jobs, and our judicial system is total fucked up. If motherfuckers doing what they want, black, white, green, and purple, and they're gonna use whatever angle that you believe in for them to stay in power to keep fucking up and scamming, bro. People need to start paying attention to a lot of this shit, man. Diddy fucked up for his own reasons. So you gotta go lay down. You gotta go do whatever you gotta do because you thought you was God. You thought you was untouchable and shit too. But at the same time, if y'all gonna prosecute somebody for something, have all your fucking ducks in the row to see that that's what the fuck going on, because people ain't got no time for that bullshit.
Right.
America itself goes through, especially us in America as indigenous people from here, bro, go through so much scrutiny that you don't understand why they would do something this dramatic without having evidence on the motherfucker.
Right.
It makes it look like this shit that people been saying about y'all ass the whole time about not trusting the government is a great example through this trial, bro. Y'all are not trustworthy. You turn around and do all this extra shit. So, you know, I just think it was a circus too, bro. I really think they waste our fucking time, bro, with a lot of that shit, and knowing they was doing other shit. You know, so yeah, but we've been kind of on top of a lot of other shit too. So I ain't gonna say they got us with that shit, but it's like it really wasn't nothing too interesting. You know what I'm saying? To really even update y'all, because they kept talking about the same shit.
Yep.
Over and over again.
Yeah, the baby early beating on her, and like, hey, come on, man. He started talking about the parties. Okay, right. But ain't nobody saying nobody move nobody. We ain't getting no van, etc. You know what I'm saying? Like to see he was actually a part of that. Now him going and get the hose, they got him on that. So yeah, transport prostitutes. So that's what I had to, you know, as far as with your boy. I think he had some great points when it come to looking at the whole broad view of the case, bro. It was not a good job. I ain't gonna lie.
It was the truth. It's the truth of making the girl, you know, with the girl and stuff. I get that. I get, you know, the woman being vulnerable, being taken advantage of. I get that. But we gotta get the charges out. You know what I'm saying? We gotta
say the bad racketeering.
And like, how the fuck you racketeering? Like, yeah, drug operations and shit.
And they ain't proved none of that shit.
That's one of the things that I found weird.
Now they can't use none of that shit against him ever.
Not ever again, player. Yep. That's right, y'all.
Can't use none of it against him ever. They would have to find a new way to say he racketeering or to say he this, that, and they have to find a whole new way. They can't use none of the charges they used already.
It'll have to be a different RICO, yep. And you know RICOs could just come off a motherfucker thought process, because that's how they made it now. That's why they testing it out on niggas, to me. You know they love doing experiments, fellas. We talk about this shit all the time.
Right.
This RICO shit ain't nothing but an experiment. Exactly. It wouldn't be the corporation that it is, child. There you go. It's business. This is big business right here. And you heard that, man. See, he know about that elite shit too. Y'all heard that nigga say slap him on the wrist and all that shit. He need to go sit down. Y'all heard him talk like that?
He's in time out.
He in time out and shit. See, that's how you know people know about the inside when they talk like that. When they talk like that, they know. The same shit we've been talking about in the beginning with this nigga with them moguls and shit. You got information on somebody that you not supposed to have, nigga, and is that real, bro? Go ahead, sit your head down for a minute and give it up. Get that shit up.
Take your little break, bro, because you're doing too much.
What?
You about
What
to get the whole.
What
We
Epstein had
about
to give up? Or did he give it up? He had to go. I guess he had to go to his grave with his shit, huh? Because they say he killed himself.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's what I'm saying. I don't what the fuck. I'm trying to tell you, bro. That nigga was running
Oh,
an
worldwide.
empire too.
That nigga
He
ran
had
a
an island.
worldwide empire. Right. All
You
to
know them
himself.
niggas have islands and shit. Man, you know. We talked about that. The
island.
log sheets, who all was there. You know, it was a big thing. Island shit was a fool. Everybody wanted their little island. Remember Jay-Z bought Beyonce one?
No.
See, it became a rich thing to do, like just to
Do
go out and
buy
buy
island,
islands,
yeah.
fellas.
So far.
Yeah, see, y'all gotta remember all this shit when these motherfuckers go to court and shit. When they get caught and shit, y'all gotta remember how they put it in our face to be the marker of what you want in life, what you want to strive for. But they don't never tell you what they gotta go through to even fathom that type of fucking wealth when it's controlled by a goddamn corporation that's greedy as fuck. Yeah, man. He went from $1 billion man to a $400 million man. he ain't a billionaire no more, chop. They about to hit this nigga.
That court
This
shit,
nigga, bro. Yeah, bro.
He gonna have a TV show.
Yeah, bro. And
Yeah.
some more shit too. But you know, I ain't gonna go too far because I don't know what everybody bringing up. But go ahead, Pete, with you know.
So this next one I'm gonna play, man. It's a correspondent giving us the breakdown about some shit that happened that potentially led to the verdict going the way it was. Because remember, you know, when we were talking about this the other day, we were discussing the fact that they did have a lot of shit that was not being said in the media. But we did know about the potential issues within the jury. So this correspondent is breaking down some shit about what happened with the jury. So check this out right quick.
Forced labor, sex trafficking, transportation for purposes of prostitution, and drug distribution. You know, yesterday we did receive a note from the jury asking about drug distribution, wanting that law reread to them. You know, this is very interesting. They've been deliberating for almost 2 days. We know that they have reached a verdict on those other counts that you spoke of. And what are those counts? Well, those are 2 counts of sex trafficking. One when it pertains to Cassie Ventura, his girlfriend of about 11 years, who claims that Combs forced her to participate in drug-fueled sex parties.
She lying. It's not sex trafficking. It's
coercion. When it
transporting
comes to those charges,
a
the other one pertains to Jane. Now, that is not her real name. She testified under a pseudonym. She actually dated Combs up until his arrest in September. And there are those 2 counts of the Mann Act, transportation to engage in prostitution. We heard from several escorts taking the stand. We know that Combs paid for those escorts on some of his own credit cards. And the question is, did he use company money to pay for some of those acts?
A money trail. That's what they did.
This is very interesting. The judge is now asking the jury to go back and deliberate. He is told them something called an Allen charge, right? Where he wants them to go back again and try to continue to deliberate. But we know from this note that there is more than one juror who is, as of right now, unwilling to change their position. Now, you know, something that's really interesting here is that I was in that courtroom almost every single day, and I had my eyes on those jurors. And I have said all along that I did not think that they would reach a unanimous verdict on RICO. That is because during some of the testimony from the prosecutor's witnesses, remember they called 34, several of them appeared to look not in agreement with the prosecution, some smirking, some appearing to roll their eyes during different testimony. So we knew that this was always going to be difficult for them to reach a unanimous verdict. Now, when I was in there for closing arguments, Mark Agnifilo, one of Combs's defense attorneys, his lead defense attorney, delivering closings on Friday, and at one point eliciting laughter from the jurors and the courtroom. He said that Cassie is actually the winner here, that she was the one that walked away with a $20 million settlement. Remember, this all started when Cassie Ventura filed that explosive civil suit against Combs in November 2023. That was the first time that anyone had heard that she had been in a violent relationship with Combs. And during her testimony, 4 days on the stand, heavily pregnant with her third child, she testified about years of physical and emotional abuse. We saw photographs of her badly beaten over the course of her relationship. But really what this comes down to is consent. Do these 12 jurors believe beyond a reasonable doubt that Cassie and Jane were forced to participate in these freak-offs? There were damning text messages from both Cassie and Jane saying that they wanted to participate in these freak-offs. We even heard in closings from Mark Agnifilo called Cassie and Combs' relationship a great modern love story. So again, we do not know what the verdict is on 2, 3, 4, and 5, but on one, the one that carries up to a life sentence, they are still having to deliberate on that.
Nah, that was the one that I found most interesting because the prosecution really didn't present enough evidence to roll and get a conviction on count 1 because they were too busy focusing on Cassie and other people whom, if they were in such danger, in such fear, and constantly being beaten and forced to do this, would have been left the situation, exited, or so on and so forth. But again, I gotta say this: we don't know the mindset of a lot of these folk, right? Right-minded individuals who go through shit like that, I think they'd had enough strength to say, you know, once was enough. I'm getting the fuck, right? So again, I don't know I don't know the mentality of these individuals that they were talking about. I just know that now, when they showing the evidence of you saying, "Hey, yeah, I'll come to the party, I'll participate," that kind of contradicts all of what you were saying about the shit being forced upon you, right? So, for the jury though, this is where the shit really takes a fan ass to me. And I think we kind of covered this a little bit now, weekly, but deep down inside, do y'all think they had the right jury for this type of case?
Yeah, I think they did because they found out they went for the right charges. Like they didn't just say, you know, we just gonna try to slam him for everything because that's what y'all saying he doing type shit.
What about you, Silent?
I actually think that is based off of a lot of stuff that wasn't presented, and the jury looked at it, from what was presented. I mean, and a lot of times, people was just saying a lot of shit was going on in the courts and shit too. I heard a lot of shit. People were saying that some of the jurors possibly paid off and shit too. So I don't.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that shit.
I don't really understand how the press, they didn't do a good job though. Even if they was, that's what I'm saying, trying to say. Like even if they was beat up, like they didn't have to do too much to fabricate anything because these motherfuckers didn't really present anything. So yeah,
right.
Man, it's a fucking shit show.
All right, so look, this last video I got, y'all. I want to run this. Now, this last video I found was one of the jurors, right? But he didn't know his status as a juror until after closing arguments, right? Because the way they had this shit set is like we got 25 people as jurors, but only 11 of y'all or 12 of y'all is going to be the actual jurors to give us your vote, and the rest of y'all is alternate jurors. Why they had so many alternate jurors, I don't fucking know. But they had, 14 other people to be alternate jurors, I guess just in case some sideways shit go on. So this particular video is one of the alternate jurors who was there. And the person talking to him is asking him some very specific questions when it comes to the case. But I want y'all to know in your mind what you hear his answers be. If that, if that'll help y'all out with this. Because this shit is, listening to this dude, bro, I was like, man, this nigga fucked up. Here we go. This is
alternate juror who's in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. George is joining us right now. This was 7 weeks of your life, hearing all of this testimony. You were an alternate, you did not deliberate, but did you agree with the final verdict?
I understood the final verdict, and I think if I, because I took a copious amount of notes overall. I took 350 pages worth of notes. Because at the end, we weren't told who was an alternate, who was the main juror until literally the last second when they were reading when the judge was reading his entire statement at the end. It was like, the first 12 of you are the jurors, the last 5 are the alternates. So we didn't know, even in the jury room, no one treated everyone, we were equal, because we didn't know who was who.
Would you have acquitted him on RICO?
I think reading all my notes and looking back at the evidence, I probably would have reached the same conclusion as the other jurors.
What was it about that charge?
I don't, the thing with the, because we were asked and the judge had instructed us that we have to find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I think there was always a little bit of doubt in people's mind. And I think it was a tough case to prove, especially the first one. And there was always a little bit of doubt there, even from the beginning.
Why did you doubt?
I think some of the charges, some of the witnesses, if you look at it one way, but then when you were listening to the defense, you could see it their way as well.
Were there any witnesses that made you think, I don't believe this?
There was one that I think unanimously we kind of all said like, wow, like it was almost like watching like TV. It was like, like when I think her name was Dawn Richard, that one. When she on cross-examination, I mean, I never saw such a cross-examination. It was very impressive to watch.
What was it about it?
I think just how the defense, got into her and really made her, look very not credible. I mean, I even wrote in my notebook that it was like a takedown.
Really? And that was pretty early on.
That was pretty early on.
From the opening statements, did you have a mindset of who you thought had a better case?
No. I think overall, from the way I look at it, both sides presented really good. Both sides presented themselves well. We were very impressed with the prosecution and the defense, how they, the professionalism, how they carried themselves. I mean, it was really good lawyering, they say.
Racketeering is notoriously a complex case. Did you feel that the prosecution presented enough evidence to support that there was even an enterprise?
I think they did the best that they could, but I think it was a tough case to prove.
Why?
I mean, when you look at the charges, kidnapping, arson, forced labor, the government had one side, but then the defense, they had some pretty good rebuttals to it. So I mean that I think added some doubt always in, I think, in people's mind.
You didn't hear from some of the people the government said were co-conspirators, like employees
Like
of
Christina Karam and
example, or
D-Rock,
D-Rock.
yeah.
Did that affect your thoughts about the case?
I don't think so, no.
Would you have wanted to?
Yeah, y'all. So, did y'all notice specific mannerisms that he was displaying? Not willing to divulge too much of the information. Like you said, you got 350 notes. There's no way you giving us such vague information on a case of this magnitude and don't have the right words to say about what the lady is asking you. Like, oh, I took a copious amount of notes. But then everything always seemed to be, well, the defense put on a pretty good case, but then, or the prosecution put on a pretty good case, but the defense had a good rebuttal. Like, dude, details is what they want to know. Because the lady said, like, what? Yeah, well, and it almost seems as though he was just thrown in there and said, look, just go in there, try to answer the question, but don't give too much detail. That's what it sounded like to me. And you one of the alternate jurors, so I find it weird that this one juror out of the other five, and I thought it was more than that, so my bad on that. But out of the 12, you were alternate, and the other 4 jurors, you mean to tell me y'all couldn't see, and I get it, like we say, they only went with what they wanted to go with to present as far as evidence in the charges or whatever like that. But dang, dude, you sound like you was one-sided already going in the gate. Like, man, fuck that. I don't care what they say. I'm gonna find this nigga not guilty. Fuck it. What y'all got?
Oh, I don't think it was like that.
Yeah, he was saying this. He kind of was saying the same thing your boy was saying. Like, she just is asking him questions. I think he was stuttering and shit. He was doing that shit. I don't know why he was doing that goof ass shit, but he was.
Because it made that stuttering shit. It made me feel like he was trying to cover something up.
Shit, though. It wasn't though. He was just saying the same shit. Like, they didn't have enough to prosecute him. He didn't think none of the charges was gonna stick. When Dawn got up there, that's your girl from the group, Dirty Money, and she was in the other little group, the little singing group they had. When he did the shit, I forgot their fucking name, but he had a little singing group. Her name was Dawn. He was saying basically her shit was kind of like a soap opera. The jury didn't see enough to actually, prosecute him for what they were trying to get him for, and I think that's why it failed. That's what I heard him say, but I get what you're saying about how he was saying the shit. It probably threw you off a little bit, but she was just asking him the same shit. Why you didn't think that was going to happen like that? Well, because prosecution didn't do a fucking good job. You know what I'm saying? He just didn't say it like a nigga. I think he kind of threw you off. He was acting weird a little bit, but I don't know why though, people, because he was saying the same thing the lawyer said in the beginning. The attorney was a little straight up. He was a little more straight up, like, with the shit. So that's the only thing I really caught. Well, what you say, Chuck?
I say the same thing. Like, I figured once we had this conversation, it was gonna kind of be like the same information because it's either people feel like he should get charged for all the stuff, or it's people that feel like they got him for the shit that he actually was really doing. And I think the two people that Peter did play, both of them saying the same thing. They basically saying they didn't have enough evidence. They was just throwing shit on the wall to see what's gonna stick.
Yep. And the only ones that stuck was the prostitution charge. That's all I had, fellas.
That was that. Well, like Chop said, there's only certain things you could actually really talk about with that. So I'm glad you kind of set the marker for that. After you know, after his situation get done, y'all know he still has to, you know, do what he have to do. But there's also a lot of civil matters that his ass got to deal with too, fellas. And I've been hearing some shit through the grapevine, and this nigga is getting sued, beyond sued, beyond sued. A lot of civil charges. Now, if y'all remember, these are the two things that they get you with: the civil or the state and them picking it up and your ass going to jail.
Right.
Your jail or the money or the jail. So now the jail didn't stick like they wanted it to, but people are still suing the shit out of his ass. And not only him, fellas, his son is also involved with this. So I just heard some shit, and I want y'all to check this out and tell me what y'all beat this out.
It involves Sean Diddy Combs, but isn't against the disgraced music mogul. As Diddy is listening to closing arguments in his sex trafficking and racketeering trial in federal court in New York, his son, Justin, has been hit with a lawsuit by a woman who claims that he lured her to Los Angeles to be raped by multiple men, including his dad, Sean Diddy Combs. Now, this isn't the first time that Justin has been named in a lawsuit with his famous father. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. How about the timing of this new lawsuit involving the son of Sean Diddy Combs? It was just in the hours after the government on Thursday finished their closing arguments in the case against the disgraced music mogul that we learned about this new lawsuit against Sean Combs' son, Justin. Justin is one of Diddy's 7 kids. Here he is with his dad's arm around his shoulder. Justin has been in court supporting his dad, just as his siblings have been over the past 7 weeks of testimony. Now, listen, whatever your feelings are on Sean Combs and whether you think he's guilty of the charges that could put him in federal prison for the rest of his life, you just have to think how difficult it must be to hear about all the sexual exploits of their father. But if you believe the allegations I'm about to tell you in this new lawsuit brought against Justin Combs, Justin apparently was very aware of his dad's lifestyle. The new lawsuit that just dropped was filed by a woman from Louisiana who says in 2017, Justin Combs coaxed her to come to LA because she says that Diddy's son promised her a job in the entertainment industry. She claims the two had met on Snapchat, and Justin allegedly asked for explicit pictures, and she sent them. The woman, who's not named in this suit, says when she got to LA, she was raped by several men, including a certain music mogul now at the center of this high-profile, historic trial in federal court in Lower Manhattan. Yes, Sean Diddy Combs. The alleged victim claims that Justin invited her out west for a weekend to talk about her career. But when she got there, she says she was kept in a house in Beverly Hills. And according to the lawsuit, things seemed fine at first, but when she allegedly asked Justin Combs if they were going to leave the house, he said no. She claims that Justin Combs offered her alcohol, pills, and weed, and she thinks that the weed was laced. Now, you can see in those allegations some of the comparisons in this lawsuit to the so-called freak-offs that we have been hearing about for weeks at the center of the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial. The woman says after she took the drugs, 3 men entered the house and all of them were wearing masks. Now, it's unclear what kind of masks the men were wearing, but when I read that part, I thought about the testimony of Sheree Hayes in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, the escort known as the Punisher. He testified that during a freak-off, Sean Combs allegedly wore a face covering that he likened to a Muslim hijab. In the lawsuit against Justin Combs, the alleged victim says that she knew that one of the men was Diddy just because of his mannerisms, but how about this? She also knew it was Diddy because she says that Justin, as his dad, entered the home to allegedly rape a woman that he brought to LA, called Diddy, quote, Pops. Now, we see on Justin's social media that Pops is the phrase that he often uses for his dad. In this lawsuit, the alleged victim claims that she was led to a bedroom where she was allegedly told, quote, you better let this happen or else. Then she says that each man took a turn raping her, calling it a, quote, brutal gang rape. After that, she was taken to an airport on Monday and flown home. Not only is Diddy facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison if convicted of all the charges in his sex trafficking and racketeering trial, there have been nearly 80 lawsuits filed against him in civil court. Many are still active. Several of the lawsuits accuse Diddy of sexual abuse and are filed by people who are not giving their names, just like in this lawsuit that we're talking about. This also isn't the first lawsuit that Justin Combs has recently faced. Justin was named in a suit brought by music producer Rodney Jones, who goes by Little Rod. Rod claims that Diddy coerced him into sexual acts, and you can see the suit also names Justin Combs and accused Justin of covering up a shooting in 2022 at Little Rod's studio in LA with his dad. In May, a judge did dismiss Justin from Little Rod's lawsuit, so he is no longer facing those allegations. As for the lawsuit filed in the hours before his dad's attorneys were to make closing arguments, E! News reports that Diddy's attorneys have denied the allegations, but it's unclear what Justin's response is at the time of this recording. Joining us now is criminal defense attorney Will Corman.
Yeah, fellas, all this type of bad blow on him, man, this son, and they saying they running this shit like a little empire.
I would say if you
niggas know about it,
get away with it, you're gonna try to get away with it too. I'm just being real. Like most people, I guess y'all remember when it was a big change in things and people were forced to do their own thing versus what their parents was doing. I think that is why, because niggas' parents was doing shit like Diddy was doing, and they was like, "Oh no, you just don't know. You don't want to be like your dad." And over time, you know, that type of shit be going on.
Point.
You see the end point of it, like you see all the blessings or money and things and fame that come with it, but you don't see that other shit that they be doing.
Son?
Yeah.
All the Satanistic type of shit that go with all that shit.
What's close, brother? Now, and like the dude said, brother, it's not the first time and it's not the first person that's saying that your ass got something to do with getting away with, you know, having these women around and doing all this extra shit when y'all be, you know, partying and shit.
Assaulting people.
Saying
Assaulting
you covering up shootings and shit. So, and y'all remember, we've been talked about Rod when Rod said all that shit was happening. Write music with the nigga in the shower and all this crazy ass shit. We've been talking about the Lil Rod shit. So your girl is saying the same thing. So people are saying, well, not people are saying, but the defense and the jury, and not the jury, the judge and them is looking at all this information that these people are coming up with these civil suits, and they you know, they got them home grad lawyers out there, y'all know they sharks, so they trying to tie all that shit together. They might do a better job in civil than they did to actually prosecute his ass for the real charges, y'all. So you might hear all kind of shit that civil suit to get them ends, y'all. I'm just saying. So strap in and be prepared, bro. Cause they said he got like about 80 of them bitches on him right now, fellas.
Right,
So
that's a lot.
That was one of the things. Yeah, bro. That was one of the ones that tripped me out with that one, and I got one more just to brush y'all up on the same thing that I'm talking about with this. They're gonna get a little bit more into a little more detail into what I was just showing y'all with the son. Not only the son, but the other charges as well, the other lawsuits as well. Like I was telling y'all. Check that out.
I wonder what leverage and how this changes those civil claims, because he is facing a mountain of civil claims. It felt like they were coming fast and furious there after he got indicted on the federal charges, the criminal charges. Then the civil deluge of lawsuits started to come out. Does this change the calculation on the civil side at all? Does it help him? What do you think the effect might be?
So certainly there were so many civil lawsuits, it was hard for us to even keep up. They were filed every single day. There's so many, and they all have different types of civil claims. The claims that were raised by Cassie Ventura, that case has been settled. That case would have been directly impacted by this verdict. Now, the civil standard is much less than a criminal standard. standard. So the cases still go on, but certainly the fact that he is not guilty on many of these charges, that's going to be something the defense and those civil actions are going to raise. They're going to say that this pattern that a lot of these civil lawsuits allege, that there's a pattern of conduct. Well, look at this criminal case. There's been a determination. That being said, it's not binding on any of those. So those continue on.
And the standard is so different.
So much lower. So it's beyond a reasonable doubt in a criminal court, the highest standard under the law. In a civil court, it's what's called preponderance of the evidence, meaning if you believe he engaged in the conduct, 51%. So just over half, then he can be found liable. So it's liable, not guilty. And the result of that is civil damages, meaning money, not liberty, jail time, like a criminal case. But he's still got a lot of legal issues to face. I don't think those civil cases are going anywhere. They're going to move their way through the courts. They've been on pause. But interestingly enough, Laura, you don't have the same Fifth Amendment rights that you do in a criminal case, in a civil case. You can be compelled to testify. So he is likely, for the cases that don't resolve and settle, which many do, but the cases that go to trial, you could see him sitting for a deposition. You could see him sitting at a trial and giving testimony.
Could you see him plead the Fifth and say, I don't want to do anything to incriminate myself?
Well, at this point, the only time you could see the Fifth being pled is when there is a real risk of criminal prosecution.
That's now
so if it relates to these charges, no. If it relates to potential drug issues, stuff like that, yes, I could see that there would maybe be an argument, but you get a lot less of lot less rights as a defendant in a civil case than you do in a criminal.
We thank you for watching, and remember,
Yeah, fellas. So I'm just interested to see what's to come, y'all. So anything y'all got to say on that?
They ain't get them this time, son. They all that shit. They can't see nothing about it. Boy. Ain't no double jeopardy, brother. Like it's over with. Like ain't no trying to get him on none of them charges. Like y'all gotta let all that shit go. Ain't no presenting new evidence. None of that. Y'all had to come up with a whole new charge.
Right, but that's if they trying to get him to go to jail. That civil shit is for them ends, child.
Oh yeah, he gotta get that bread though.
Yeah, that's for the ends. They gonna prosecute his ass way harder, I think, to be honest with you.
That section is people's personal lives. So now all that shit that came out. So now you gotta pay them to shut the fuck up.
Yep. Either you
your girl
pay.
say them bitches was coming every day, child. At one time, the lawsuits was coming every day, Nick. They got one with the little boys and everything. But the little dude was saying, he was well, he ain't a little dude no more. He a grown man now, but he said, yeah, this shit happened when I was young. All kind of motherfuckers coming out the closet, nigga, as they say.
And 9 times out of 10, a lot of that shit got something to do with his business practice as a business owner. You know, that like the shit he was doing with the people from making the band, like all that shit got to come up now. All that shit, and that's what 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, man. Yeah, and I like the fact that now you gotta hear from him. Because you can be compelled to testify, meaning either you testify or you get found in contempt of court until you testify on what the fuck they asked you. Like, you gotta answer them questions, and it's gonna be some it's gonna be some very, very specific questions that they ask, and like you said, Chop, none of that could lead to him going to jail on the racketeering shit. But it definitely opens up the door and avenue for newer charges that is unrelated to RICO or the Mann Act to be brought against him. So,
they OJ Simpson and him. See, I don't think they're gonna bring up nothing no more at all. I think that they're gonna find him guilty in civil, like they did OJ. OJ did the murder. He did the murder in civil lawsuit. But when it was time for him to go to jail, Johnny Cochran got him out, though. He was found not guilty. by the evidence. Now, how this same evidence made him lose the civil suit? See, these motherfuckers are fools, dog, and it was just a shit show. And I'm telling you, brother, way them people came at that man, brother, make it seem like they had so much shit on him, bro. It's ridiculous what they didn't show to say that that dude was actually racketeering and shit. Even these little lawsuit cases on the son and all that. Prosecutor didn't bring none of that up, like saying that the son was helping the empire, like all that's a part of racketeering and shit. They didn't bring none of that shit up, son.
It wasn't
So
trying.
that was just a weird part for me. Yeah, Chop, that would have seemed like though. So it's weird to me, but it makes sense though too, because you could tell P knows some shit, and they needed to get that info though, whatever that was. You know, that the tape, he got a tape on somebody powerful or something. Some shit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, bro. That's all I had to do, Chop. It's on you, brother.
I ain't really
Pass
had much. Y'all talked about mostly everything. My main thing was now how, I want to ask y'all this question. How does Diddy move on in society after this case?
Low profile, man. Low profile. Try to stack as much as you can as far as businesses. I say play the background. Really try to get yourself together too, right? Really do some soul searching and just stop bullshitting yourself to make this to create this, this person or this being, this thing. Like when he was using the love thing. I'm love, I'm brother love and all this shit. Yeah, you brother love, but right? Look, brother love. It don't look like a lot of love, player. You fucked up, dog. So just using, all them Diddy antics and shit. You know what I'm saying? Being that type of person that you is, bro. That shit should be a chapter in your life that should be closed, my brother. Really find, what's going on with you. With that situation, because it's probably a lot of shit, that's childhood trauma based. But if he's not on that type of time, if he come out like looking for a vengeance and they hating on me, jealousy, and come back and trying to do Diddy bops and dyeing his hair back black and all that, he gone, y'all. He tried. They gonna keep whooping him, bro.
What you think, Peter?
He ain't learned by now.
I think the best way that he could move on with his life post the Diddy trial and all that is to reassess himself and understand that all these things that I wanted to do, did I have to do it, or did I do because I wanted to do, and this was the outcome of what my actions were. That's number one. Number two, go sit down. Just go sit down. Fuck. Don't do nothing but what you're supposed to be doing as a businessman, entrepreneur, music mogul, as they say. Stick to that. All that extra shit and throwing these lavish parties and all that. Go sit down, bro, because that shit gonna get you right back in fucking trouble.
Yeah, I don't think he should do none of that shit. I think anybody that was part of the whole freak off situation should stop doing, like Bean said, stop fucking partying, man. Stop throwing parties, man. Like, just don't do nothing, nigga. Just be regular, bro. Get in shape and tell your story. Of course, you're gonna tell your story. I know you're gonna make your money off your story. You gotta pay your some lawsuits and shit. You definitely gotta do that, but just chill out, man. And then that's another thing too. Nobody's sex life should be that public. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one wants to know.
Close the door.
Close the door. Yes. That's all I had, fella.
Hey, bro, with that being said, great show. Be that. Send us on out, player.
Well, all right, folks. I do thank y'all for joining us. DD504, that Gamer Pro 65. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
DD, appreciate y'all.
To all the people watching this on the rebroadcast, we thank you. Jump in them comments, leave us messages, let us know what you thought. You know, be careful of your actions. You know, it's shit that everybody want to do, but is it worth doing is the question. And so with that being said, y'all, any final thoughts on any other news?
That damn pasta
Stay
shit.
away from Colts. Stay away from Colts. And
Like, what
politics.
the fuck?
And politics that look like spaghetti gods.
Black
women,
Yeah.
you don't want black men.
And the black women who love them, huh, child?
Fuck, if you don't want black men to mess with the other race, stop being bitches, man. Shit.
Oh no. The spaghetti gods that's in political office.
Don't do nothing that's gonna make you lose your power.
They love black women.
Fucking taking the battery out niggas' back and shit. Fuck.
Cause we ain't shit, you know. So yeah.
Hey. All right, that's good. That's good. I like that. All right, folks, we gotta get on out of here, man. This has been another good episode of Blunt Talk NOLA.
Yes, sir.
Join us Sunday for the next topic, or just our regular Sunday discussion, man. Like for real. Join us on that channel, man. I mean, we might as well. This shit we
It's on you, blood.
Regular day people. That's what I'm come up with my topics. Friday and Sunday we may have a discussion depending on what we talk about on Friday. Because Friday is the day we normally, every Friday. Blunt Talk NOLA Friday. Okay.
Smoke weed every day. Hey.
Peter, I said he was feeling under the weather.
Blunt Talk NOLA.
Got a little. That's probably what's wrong. Probably why he's saying dumb shit. But all right, take us out, Peter.
All right, folks. All right, y'all. This is Blunt Talk NOLA. We are ending it off here. I am your host, P. Dot on the spot.
So that's Chop 17.
Chop tracks in the motherfucking build.
And we out this bad boy. Y'all be good, man. Be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, y'all.
Close that goddamn door.
The dope.
Brother Love said so.